This is Demon Phoenix with another Witcher 3 tutorial video, this time about the mechanics of the Ancient Leshen Decoction. The Ancient Leshen Decoction is an interesting decoction because it's supposed to increase your stamina regeneration for each casting of a sign up until the end of that particular fight. It's supposed to increase the stamina by 2 stamina points regeneration per second for each casting of a sign. It's still a useful decoction, even though I'm about to show that it doesn't work exactly like it's supposed to. So this is Geralt with default medium armor. This is actually the Viper and Manticore sets mixed together. 4 pieces of medium armor, and as you could see there, it was 10 stamina regeneration per second. There's a penalty for using heavy armor, so here if I switch to a full set of heavy armor, where each of the 4 pieces is heavy, it applies the penalty and you only have 8 stamina regeneration per second in combat. Now when you have light armor, like here, I switch to a set that's enchanted with levity to make all 4 pieces light, it gives you a slight bonus to your stamina regeneration, which is 13 per second. So 13 stamina regeneration per second. It's a noticeable difference in combat, and it means that when you're using heavy gear, you can't use as many signs, and you're a little more limited in using skills like Rend and Whirl if they use stamina, because you have less stamina regeneration overall. If you have 4 pieces of medium armor and you apply the Griffin School techniques, you get a large increase there, because each piece of the set now applies a further 5 stamina regeneration per second because of the Griffin School techniques. So that's 30 per second, which is a really big bonus. But you can use the Ancient Leshen Decoction, and that can increase the stamina regeneration when you're using signs. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, it doesn't increase it the full amount like it's supposed to. So here is the heavy tank build with a few sign abilities, which it takes increases the stamina regeneration per second up to 15 per second. So that's with the tank, and then these blue abilities which will add a little bit of stamina regeneration themselves. So I've applied the Ancient Leshen Decoction, and the signs it does work with are Aard Sweep, Firestream and Active Shield, which are the alternate versions of Aard, Igni and Quen. And also it will work with both of the Axii, but Ancient Leshen Decoction doesn't work with Magic Trap or the regular versions of Aard, Igni, Quen or Yrden. And like I say, it does work with Axii, and Axii even gives you a little bit bigger boost than it's supposed to. So instead of 2 stamina regen per second, it actually gives a little bit more of a boost, and so does Puppet. So here I'm just fighting some bar guests in the beautiful Toussaint, and I've already got Quen up there, and you can just see I've cast Yrden. You can see how slow the regeneration is because of the heavy set that I'm wearing. So here I cast Igni, and the regeneration still doesn't increase, even though I do have the Ancient Leshen Decoction active. And again, you can see how long it takes to build that stamina back up, so signs really aren't much of an option when you're using a heavy set normally. So the last of the normal signs that I'm going to cast here is Aard. And you can see that again, it doesn't really make much difference to your stamina regeneration, and you can see this in the actual menu screen. So here, after using the 4 regular signs, Quen, Yrden, Igni and Aard, it's still only 15 stamina regeneration per second. So the Ancient Leshen Decoction hasn't worked there, hasn't done anything. But now if you see, I'm going to use the normal version of Axii, which is the only normal sign that does work with the Ancient Leshen Decoction, and it will actually make a difference. So there I've used Axii. I'll go back into the menu, and you'll be able to see that the Ancient Leshen Decoction has worked. So instead of adding 2 stamina regeneration with Axii, it's added 3, so that's gone up to 18 per second. Now on its own, that's not a big difference, but you can see here that I'm going to cast Magic Trap and start looking at the alternate versions of the signs. Unfortunately, Magic Trap doesn't work, which is a shame because it would go really well with this tank combination of Ancient Leshen and tank armor. But sadly, you can see it didn't make a difference there. However, when you use Aard Sweep, the alternate version of Aard, you can see that it does again increase the stamina regeneration for each use of that sign. So you can use this with Firestream as well, and you don't even have to use the full stamina for Firestream, you don't have to use the whole bar. Any little use of Firestream will increase the stamina regeneration again. So I used a little bit of the bar and it increased it by another point of stamina regeneration per second. So you can use multiple uses of Active Shield and multiple uses of the Firestream, and they don't even take up the full bar of your stamina, and in some cases they'll take up very little, but each use of those alternate signs will increase your stamina regeneration for the remainder of that fight. Now what this actually means in practice is, if you're using one of those alternate signs like Firestream, like Aard Sweep or like Active Shield, a couple of uses can very quickly increase your stamina regeneration, and that is really useful for tank or hybrid builds, or indeed just light builds that focus on combat. It's a really useful decoction if you're using the correct signs. So there I'm already up to 30 per second, which if you remember is the exact same as I had with the medium and the Griffin School techniques. So it can be a really powerful combination. So again, a couple of uses of Firestream increases it even further. And then I'll show you my personal favourite combination, which is the Ancient Leshen Decoction with Aard Sweep. Now Aard Sweep's really good because unlike with Firestream, where you can get hit a lot of the time, if the enemy isn't burnt, they'll just carry on attacking and hit you. With Aard Sweep, it doesn't even use up your full stamina bar, it only uses about half of it, and each use then increases your stamina regen and knocks the enemy back a little bit. So you can continually use it a couple of times at the start of each fight, and it will vastly increase your stamina regeneration for the rest of that fight. Even if you're only fighting a couple of enemies, you can just use Aard Sweep a couple of times. Now what this is really useful for, in addition to tank builds, is a hybrid build, and I'll be doing some videos on that, which is why I wanted to make this demonstration first. So here you can see a demonstration of a hybrid build. It's got a lot of things that would use stamina, so it can use signs, it uses Igni for burning with Euphoria's sign intensity, and it also uses Rend and Whirl, which both use your stamina. And you'll see here that after a good use of these signs in the fight, I'm up to 81 stamina regeneration per second, which is massive, and it basically means that you have unlimited use of your signs and unlimited use of Whirl and Rend as much as you want. So you can always keep Quen up, you can always keep enemies burning, you can always cast Yrden to slow them down and things like that. It's really useful. So I just wanted to put that mechanics video out there and just say that Ancient Leshen is worth using, even though it is a little bit bugged. I hope you enjoyed, and please leave a like. Thank you.